we've seen a lot of value with the LEC Roadshow this year, traveling for both Movie Star Koi and Carmine co-hosting respective games. With that sort of encouragement of grassroots audiences rooting for their home teams and that sort of vibe, is this something that VCT EMEA would like to explore in the future?
So I think we're always talking to our LEC colleagues, because obviously with us both running different products, like we want to share learnings and kind of discuss what's working for them, what's working for us. Yeah. One of the nice things about doing two shows out of Berlin is that we can both kind of test and experiment with different things. Mm-hmm. And I think we're really impressed with what they've been doing. Obviously, it's been really successful for them. It's definitely something that we'd love to explore in the future if the opportunity was there. There are some Valorant can be a bit more technically challenging to produce an event because of the nature of the game. But we're definitely kind of discussing with them kind of what's working for them, what's not, and it's something that we'd love to explore in the future if the opportunity was there.
Do you mind if I ask a quick follow-up to that? Yeah. What are your main considerations that's stopping you from immediately adopting it or adopting in the near future?
I think obviously one of the things we want to do with Valorant is create that really strong, coordinated calendar experience worldwide. Obviously, for us to go and do something like that, we have to work very closely with the team. We have to make sure there's venue ability in that moment. It takes a long time to plan something like that. Yeah. And at the moment, it's probably just a bit too early for us to kind of commit to doing something like that now. We're kind of more in the kind of, test and learn phase. Yeah. So it's not something that we can immediately spring on, but it's definitely something that as we think about the future, as we think about what VCT looks like 2-3 years from now, we can definitely factor that. We definitely will factor that into the vision and see if there's a place for it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Guys, so I wanted to touch upon a little bit the Challenger League. So I guess Tomek probably will be best to answer, although this is for any of you that want to chime in, honestly. So this year we've seen a reduction of the sub-regions in the Challenger Leagues. So I just wanted to ask, compared to last season, did you outright see any benefit to that reduction? And are you seeing any, maybe perhaps increased competitiveness or increased regional viewership due to those mergers happening? Anything related to that would be...
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for that. So starting into 2025, what we did is introducing the new Challenger EMEA leagues. That has turned out to be really working well for both fans and teams and also players. So we actually surveyed the players about what do you think about the new tournament, and we talked to the teams, and there are really, really good numbers coming back in terms of the feedback that they say they agree it's more competitive. They agree there's more visibility across the board. The beauty of this new tournament format is not only we created it hand in hand with the TOs in 2024, so that was an outcome from a workshop we held here, but also that this is a product which belongs to the license of the TOs. So it's basically their thing to broadcast and to accumulate that viewership. To your point around the number of the Challenger Leagues, I think the reduction probably helped fans to follow the competition a little bit better. And what we see is a really competitive field. If you look at which teams play in the Challengers EMEA 1, 2, and 3, it's a very diverse mix. And that just shows that the pool of talent is really, really deep. And so that's what we love to see.
Can I
Absolutely.
Just to add to that? So I think one of the other benefits of concentrating the number of challenges is it aligns with Premier Mode and how that game works. And that's unlocked some really cool things for teams and fans. So thinking in Turkey, for example, last year we had a team go from Premier Mode into the Turkish Challenger League that ended up here at Ascension. Was it 3-2 they lost?
Yeah.
They almost went from Premier Mode to the VCT. That is such an incredible pathway. But to be able to make that happen, we needed to make sure there was alignment between the Premier Shards and the Challenger League. So that's kind of one of the benefits that's come from the concentration. Yeah.
One thing that local members of the community are up in arms about are the conflicts in schedule between League and VCT EMEA. With gaming changes rising coming soon, what systems will be in place to avoid schedule difficulties?
Yeah, I can speak to this one. So we try to, as little as, we never want to put fans in a position where they need to choose between two things they want to watch. But at the same time, fans are always wanting more games, more competitions, etc. Those things are literally at odds with each other. So we try to schedule things as much as possible so there's no overlap. So with challenges, for example, we don't have Challenger Leagues games taking place on the same day as we have the VCT, because if you're a fan that really loves the Turkish Challenger League, you're probably going to want to watch that and BBL playing. And if they're at the same time, like, that's not ideal. But as well, there are some operational constraints as well. So thinking of the broadcast partners, our Spanish broadcast partner, they both run the Challenger League and operate the Spanish broadcast for the VCT. It's extremely difficult for them to do these things with multiples at the same time. So yeah, it's kind of a balancing act between wanting to make sure that we avoid as much overlap as possible, but knowing that some is inevitable, and we wouldn't want to constrain the amount of competition we have to avoid an overlap. So we wouldn't want to launch a new product. We wouldn't want to not launch a new product like Game Changers Rising because it would create overlap. We're comfortable with some level of it.
As a French fan, I didn't see a lot my team this year. I didn't say it's your fault, but for the next years, do you think about rework the current format?
I'll take the first stab, and then if you guys want to layer on. I think when you look back at the last few years of VAL, you can see that we've tweaked the formats quite a lot. Every year has been different in some way, shape or form. Again, with format, it's a number of different trade-offs that we need to balance. Some fans want to watch lots of games. Some fans want to see fewer games with higher stakes. So there's a trade-off we need to do there. So we're always looking at the format and trying to perfect the balance. We're working at the moment on what changes we would make to 2026. We don't have anything to share just yet, but we don't feel we've quite nailed the balance just yet, I would say.
If I may layer on. So hopefully you might see some more French teams playing also in Project Blender, which we will have in Q4. So we really try to provide more opportunities for any team to play, whether that is an amateur team, an influencer team, a tier 2 team, a game changer team, or a VCT team. Whether Gentlemates wants to play in that or not, right? I think that's up to them. But as a team, we look at what is the opportunity in the official season, but then also how can we create more opportunities throughout the year? And that's really where I think Project Blender comes in this year and hopefully provides the French fans with some more games. Thank you.
I can add a bit as well. I think finding the right format is probably the hardest part of our job. It's the bit that probably keeps most of the esports product folks at Riot up late. There are so many factors that go into finding a format that works the most. And so it's kind of, for me, it's kind of like an iceberg. 10% of those things are above the surface and fans can see them and really understand them. And probably 90% of them sit below the water, and they're things that fans are never going to think about because they might be production constraints or things like that. And with Val, our vision is obviously quite grand. We're trying to build a global sport, and that can make it challenging to find the balance between the different layers of competition. And to Ringer's point, we're probably still tweaking that balance and trying to find the right place. But it's a really, really difficult thing to land on that right format. And I think we would all agree that we haven't got to the right place yet. And it's something that's probably going to take some more time and some more learning until we find it.
So I don't know if you saw this article, but the article I wrote about ERLs for League of Legends, after it was published, a lot of VCL teams messaged me saying they have the same fears about sustainability into ecosystem. So I wanted to ask if you value the sustainability of Tier 2, or if it's meant to be more amateur leagues, considering, especially with Ascension in VALORANT, I think it's important to have a sustainable Tier 2 ecosystem for Tier 1 to flourish. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on this.
Absolutely. Thanks for your question. It's a very big priority for us, and the latest push, which we just announced the other day to increase Ascension from 6 to 8 teams, hopefully also shows that we are really committing to provide an opportunity for teams, not only a sustainable path, but also to climb up into the VCT EMEA. So overall, what is very important for us is that we talk to our partners, the tournament organizers, who talk also to all of the teams and understand what are the pain points. Based off of that, this is something we are aware of. The sustainability part is something which is a concerning factor for Tier 2 teams. I think it's fair to say that for already 26, this is something we're looking to attack. Unfortunately, right now, that's nothing more I can reveal, but it's something we have been very actively working on.
Can I add a little bit?
Please, absolutely.
Regarding what was said earlier, this reduction you did in VALORANT help reach this sustainability goal because you have lesser leagues to support.
May I ask you, are you referring to the sustainability of whom? Yeah. I think overall, probably the answer is yes, because there is a more condensed pool of very high performance teams. And I think this year is a prime example where we see that. I have no idea who's going to win Ascension. And I think in the past we also had, and I'm very much hearing Reddit posts and comments and all of that, where fans say there's too many leagues and too many teams and all of that, right? And that's something where, again, we don't forcefully intend to cut it down, but there were many factors like Premier, like talking to our partners and saying, well, how can we create the best of both worlds? And that's just where we ended up. And I think overall for 25, I feel we're in a good spot, but we know that there's room to improve for sure for 26 and onwards.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
So I think from thinking about, I'm lucky, I only have to think about Tier 1. I don't envy Tomek's position. But from a Tier 1 perspective, I think we definitely, and we talk about this, like we care very much about that, because one of the things we're proudest about with Valorant is that global parity that we have between the regions. And obviously that is dependent on us having that sustainable talent pipeline. So if we don't make sure that that exists, then the thing that I think we are most proud of will slowly erode over time. So yeah.
Sorry, it's going to come back to you again, Tomek. I had questions on Game Changers. Obviously, it's a wonderful platform for new up-and-coming players who want to compete at the highest level. However, obviously, its performance is not on par with, let's say, Tier 1 Valorant in terms of viewership. So I wanted to ask you, is there a different measurement of success for that league? And in the future, are there plans for Game Changers, better Game Changers integration into the rest of the VCT ecosystem? For example, Game Changers teams playing in the VCT leagues, Tier 1, are there such plans in the works?
Thank you. That's a great question. So first of all, who is Game Changers for? Why do we build it? For the players who play in Game Changers, right? So viewership has never been one of our main focus areas. However, it's really great to see that the current 25 numbers are trending away from what we have seen in 24. Not sure if that's also a Casey thing to our French fans. They might have contributed to some.
A little bit.
So we built Game Changers first and foremost for the players. There is a platform for them which allows them to compete in a safe space, in a safe environment, but also on the other hand, accelerate them and provide a very inclusive pathway to pro. So with that being said, I think what we have launched in the past is that the GCC winner, they could have chosen to play in a promotion tournament. We have seen teams taking that opportunity, where unfortunately G2 lost in the DACH League, I can't make it, but we see more and more of those developments, which is really good. So we see there are absolutely players and teams in Game Changers who want to take the next step. And I think our job is really to build the ecosystem in a way to allow for more of those opportunities. I think Project Spotlight in 24 was a great success. Now with Blender Spotlight this year, we want to again incentivize the mixed gender play. And I think this is part of the whole process and the development to provide again a framework for players who really want to take the next step. So I think right now, hopefully in a few years' time, we can say, yes, these were the steps we took. I don't think it's a process we can or should force.
Thank you.
We're committed to Game Changers. We're in this for the long haul, and again, we've made quite a lot of changes. We have like a former pro player that's consulting with us to give us that angle that we don't obviously understand. And just the other day, Tomek ran a session with 25 odd game changers, players to ask some questions. So again, we're constantly looking to iterate the product.
Thank you so much.
This is a general, so if everyone wants to answer. What is the VCT EMEA team most proud of till now in terms of production, broadcast, etc.? You can say if you want. Oh.
I'm going to say the who. Because I don't really get since 5 games. When I think of things we've done this year, it's really some of the broadcast experiences to me. The broadcast has really just evolved, and it's just like it's so fun, and the segments are so cool. Like thinking of the outdoor session we did a few weeks ago, where we did the entire analyst desk and everything outside. There was a hot tub there, some sand. These sorts of things, we get really positive feedback from the viewers. And it was something that a year ago we weren't ready to start doing yet. We were still building other capabilities. So you're seeing how much fun the broadcast team is having, and then how much fans are having engaging with it. Really, really cool. And I also know that it costs about €2,000 to buy 12 tons of sand.
Thank you. I'm most excited about returning to Istanbul for Game Changers Finals. The community has been absolutely amazing last year. They showed up big time, really to improve the experience there, both in terms of on-site experience and the broadcast. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. On the Challenger/Ascension side, I think this year we're trying to really try something new. We will have 8 teams on the LAN in the Riot Games Arena. That's really new for us. And that allows a new experience for both the players and I think the fans watching it, right? I think the idea is to create a more, let's say, intimate feeling where everyone's around with old esports fans, right? Where everyone's just talking and hanging out and playing the games and just having a great time. So that's something obviously which is coming up in October, but we're working on that, and that's something which will be very, very cool.
I would say 2 things. First, I think we're really proud of how the team came together around the tech issues that we had at stage 1. That was obviously not fun, but we were kind of able to quite quickly identify what was wrong and then actually to work with the teams themselves to kind of test those issues. And that's one of the things that made that so challenging, was actually that some of these issues are things that only approach by us. So for me, looking at the way we approached that, looking at the way the team approached that, I think we're incredibly proud of that, and also of the partner teams themselves for leading in and having us and giving us the support with getting through that. And then the other thing I'd call out would be we have an amazing broadcast team. We're very busy across the studio right now, and they've been putting a lot of effort this split into trying to improve the core game experience. Because we've been thinking about how can we not just make the experience better for those fans that are watching via the official broadcast, but actually post-streamers allow fans to watch VCT the way that they want to watch VCT. We no longer have to provide one experience that serves everyone. But what we wanted to do was to try and find a way that we can actually provide post-streamers with more tools for storytelling, etc. within their broadcast, and the best way to do that is actually to bring some of those things into the game itself. So now when you watch it, hopefully you'll see it today during the finals, there's a lot of storytelling we're now trying to put into the match with these side mortises, with stats. We made a much bigger investment into stats actually, this split, and hopefully you've all seen that. And I think that's really made a difference to it's a lot easier now to follow VCT as a casual fan, and I think we hope to kind of build on that next year as well.
So we've seen Valorant Mobile in China be quite a big thing, I would say, on launch, and it seems to be going strong and popular. Do you think that sometime down the line in the EMEA region there is space for non-PC Valorant competitions, be it console or Valorant Mobile, to be, I think, in some capacity? Do you think there's space for that at all?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think for us it's a wait and see. We look at this when we're launching a new product, we're kind of wanting to react to what the players tell us they want. So when we launched Valorant, if you remember, we had the full third strike, it was the Ignition series. And that was very much a very small thing. We didn't run tournaments ourselves. But the fan feedback was, we want more, we want more. So we did first strike, we want more. We kept trying to respond to that demand. So we'll treat it the same way. Like if we're hearing from fans of the console that they want to about esports experience, we'll sit down and think about, okay, like what can that look like? So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a watch this space, but that's like the philosophy of how we approach it.
Thank you. I have a question about Project Blender. Did you think about it, like to work with the other leagues already existing? What I mean is, do you thought about it more as a entertaining project or more as a competitive project because it will be mixed gender teams. So do you think like it's not the same as playing as only with guys or only with girls? Do you think it could help players reach other leagues?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that question. So just to clarify, which is Project Blender is obviously the whole tournament, and then we have the Spotlight Blender, which is a side tournament just for mixed teams. The idea was back, I think, in late 2024 when we were thinking about, okay, how does Q4 of 25, how can that look like, right? And what are we hearing from the players and the fans? What do they want? Obviously, it is always a tricky window because it's post-champs, post-ascension, all those big competitions, and we know that there's a lot of stuff going on, meaning players are trying for new teams, right? And teams looking for new opportunities. We know that there was absolutely a need from teams to compete, and when we thought about Project Blender and the idea, I think the beauty of this is anyone can play and anyone can face the big teams. So there can be an amateur team playing against Fnatic or anyone else. And I see it as really a mix between a competitive window, a competitive tournament, but also on the other hand, where we try out together with the tournament organizer some twists like the draft system we're going to introduce for agent, or a bounty system, right, where really there's a lot of money on the line for games, and all of those twists which make it fun, kind of serious, and allows really teams to say, do we want to try hard or do we just want to play for fun? Because we also know that a lot of teams don't want to commit to the 26 roster by that time, so they might want to play with trials, or they might want to try out with an influencer team or whatnot, and we think that's absolutely fine. So I think really it should be for everyone, but I think at the end it might get sweaty.
Thanks.
Thank you for that.
Coming back to the French team, sorry, it will be the last question for me. We've seen that Gentlemates made a lot of statistics this year. After their elimination, do you try to keep them in the league, like maybe give them a slot to the few years? And do you think that without them, it will be an impact next year?
Yeah, Gentlemates were an amazing addition to the VCT. I still remember very clearly when they were playing their Ascension game at our old arena in the Meza. There was 20 or 30 fans that had travelled from Paris to watch the game without even having tickets. I walked outside and they were all huddled around watching it on their phone screens. I was just like, wow, this is amazing. So of course we got them tickets and got them inside, and they came on a game, and it was incredible. So they've been a great addition to the VCT. They're an example of why non-partner leagues, why Tier 2 matters. They came through that system. They've been an example of why having a mechanic like Ascension to make sure new teams have a pathway in is important. They brought a lot. They be missed at the VCT, absolutely. But just because their guest time is over, it doesn't have to mean they're out of VALORANT entirely or forever. So we'll see what they want to do. I certainly hope they stay around in VALORANT because they've been great. Thanks.
So I wanted to ask, the shared Riot Games arena with the LEC and VCT, how much does that limit your projects? Do you see much delays, or does it limit your scheduling a lot in your decisions, and how do you circumvent it?
Kind of look at it the other way around. So before, we had our arena in the Meza, in a different location, and there was a different arena here. Did you come to the old LEC studio?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you remember it's like a totally different
thing. It
might as well be a totally new space. And that was a good arena, and what we had in the Meza, the Coliseum, was a good arena. This is incredible. So by kind of joining forces, we've been able to build something a lot more powerful, a lot more state-of-the-art than we had before. That ultimately allows us to create a better broadcast and whatnot. the price of admission, the finality of space and time. We have one stage, we have 7 days in the week and things like that. So yeah, there's things we need to work through and optimize and balance, but we wouldn't be able to put the show on we can today if we didn't kind of get the efficiencies from sharing the space. So yeah, I'm really happy